Hey guys, welcome back to True Great Adventures. Today I'm going to be giving you an in-depth tour of our solar setup. Alright, so let's start from the source. We have 6 200 watt NUO port monocrystalline panels. They're all on the roof and we have them hooked up in a series parallel configuration. We have 3 hooked up in parallel and then another set of 3 hooked up in parallel, and then they're hooked up in series together. We got a 150 volt, 100 amp hour solar charge controller. We're not using all the amps or all the volts right now, but we decided to get something a little bigger than what we needed, just so it's not working at maximum capacity all the time. And in the future, if we wanted to, we could add more solar panels. We could have gone with a regular bus bar to connect everything together, but I wanted to go a little above and beyond and get the VICTRON Linux distributor. So pretty much the solar goes into the distributor and that connects all the power together. Pretty much everything that's power related is connected to the distributor. We have the solar charge controller, the DC to DC charger, the battery bank, 12 volt, and we have the inverter. Alright, so from there, I want to move on to the inverter. We got a really great inverter. Again, it's from VICTRON. It's the Multi+2 3000 watt inverter, and it's also a charger too. So that thing is a beast. I don't think we've used it to its full capacity yet. It works great. It's never gave us an issue. So we don't have a transfer switch, I think is what it's called. So we have just a regular 15 amp plug for the inverter, and we could charge it through that. My plan is to get a 30 amp plug put out here and a transfer switch. So if we wanted to run entirely off shore power, we could do that, and it wouldn't really touch our system. It would just go straight to the breaker box. And speaking of breaker box, we got a Blue Seas breaker box. It's a 120 volt breaker box. It's pretty simple. It was really expensive. Honestly, all the 120 volt breaker boxes are really expensive, but I chose that one just because it's made for like moving vehicles, and I thought it looked pretty cool, so that's what I got. So for our battery storage, we decided to go with lithium right out the gate. We've had a camper with lead acid batteries, and they messed up so quick. I don't know if we dropped them below charge or they were not good batteries, but we just didn't have a good experience with them. So we decided to get the lithium right out the box. We didn't want to spend $600 for a 100 amp battery, so we decided to go with the Amazon brand. Well, it's not really Amazon brand, it's off Amazon. It's the Amper Time batteries. They work really, really great. We've had this system in for a year, and before we were traveling, we were making sure the system was running. So it was drawing to about 77% every night because of the fridge and stuff, and charging up every day. So it's gone through a lot of cycles so far, and they're working great. I don't have a single complaint. We've never ran out of batteries. So something that's pretty important, I guess, is the DC to DC charger. A lot of people said, you know, you need redundancy, but I really haven't felt the need to use it. So it's connected to our battery bank here. You could see there's a fuse there, and there's a wire that runs all the way back to the DC to DC in the back of the bus. It's only 30 amps at 12 volts, which is 360 watts per hour. But again, I don't feel like we really have been in need of it. I guess it wasn't a bad investment. It was only like $230. So, you know, when you build your system, just think about that. All right, next we have the battery shunt. We got the Bluetooth battery shunt. It doesn't have a display, but I like that one more. I didn't want to route the display to where we could see it somewhere. It's completely Bluetooth, so we just look on our phone and it gives us all the information. That's trending, like trends, what you've used in the past, how much you're using currently, and if it's getting charged or not. All right, so the 12 volt is very important. If you haven't designed your solar system yet, try to make as much as you can, make it 12 volt. because anything that runs through the inverter is going to have a power loss of about 10%. But if it's 12 volt, it's directly from the battery. It doesn't have to run through anything else. If you want to spend more money on 12 volt appliances and all the knickknacks you could get, it's well worth it. They're more expensive, but again, it's worth it because you save power in the long run. So we get a lot of questions. About how much this system costs and the pros and cons of it. So let's talk about it. Our system costs about $7,000. The wires are really expensive. All of the crimps and the ferrule clamps and the equipment to crimp, and it's all pretty expensive. I think we spent about $1,500 just on wires and crimps and ferrule clamps and the devices to put that stuff on. I'm gonna link down how much everything costs, and it's gonna be on our Amazon storefront. So if you guys want to check that out, feel free. And now I want to talk about the pros and cons of a solar system. So we did a TikTok video a while back, and it was showing the system, and a lot of people said, is this worth it? Wouldn't it just be better to get a generator? And while I might agree a generator is way cheaper, you could probably get a really good one for like $500. Generators are loud, they're not hands-off, they stink, and you're gonna have to put it on and off the bus, and it's just kind of a pain in the butt. With a solar system, it's completely hands-off. Most of the time, we don't even think about it. I mean, all of the time, we don't even think about it. We just use all the power we want. We're never worried about like if we're gonna run out, or if you know, it's like a house. It makes it more like a home, I think. So another thing I hear is, well, you could have gotten cheaper equipment. I'd say your solar system is probably the most important thing. Again, we traveled in a camper and it had a budget solar system, and it was constantly on the fritz. It was a pain in the butt. So my opinion, and you know, don't take this to the bank, but spend as much as you can on your solar system. Like, go big or go home on your solar system. Obviously, do the math of how much electricity you consume every day, and go based on that. But I would double it. So again, whatever your budget is, go off that. If you can buy, you know, expensive quality equipment, go for it. But if you can't, just get what you can get. I've heard a lot of good things about the all-in-one systems. I was actually looking at that initially, but I couldn't find one that we could connect our breaker box to. Like, they all had plugs, and I don't know how you're supposed to put outlets throughout the bus if it has a bunch of, if there's no like direct connection to it. I think, actually I take that back, I did see an all-in-one system, but it was like $5,000. And I don't know, an all-in-one system is, I don't like it personally, because if everything's connected on the inside and one thing has an issue, in my mind, I feel like it would kind of mess with everything else. So if everything is separated, I feel like that's better, because then you know exactly where the problem's coming from. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, and it's a very popular subject, is the AC. People ask if we can run the AC off the solar. So yes and no. So we can run it directly off the solar. Our AC is a wall unit, and it runs about 670 watts. With the inverter, it runs about 720, something like that. So we can run it off the solar, easy. But we can't really run it off the batteries. I think it'll run for like 3 hours off the batteries, but we tend to travel with the weather, and honestly, we haven't really turned on the AC that much. In fact, I kind of regret getting the AC because we just haven't used it, and it's really kind of a waste of space. That's all I got for you guys today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and if you have any questions about the solar, put them down below and I'll try to answer them the best I can. We're gonna leave some resources of how you could build a similar solar setup, and everything that you saw here is gonna be on our Amazon storefront.
Yeah!